Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Looking for a Robust CRM Integrated Email Marketing System. My name is Tim Wilmot from Wizard Systems, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Steve Pearl from IntelliClick. And in fact, Steve will very shortly take us through the IntelliClick system, what it offers for our GoldMine community, and why is it so different and better than all of the other email marketing options that you've got out there that could work with GoldMine. So just a brief introduction to Wizard System. I think many of you on the call are familiar with our company. We are long-standing suppliers of GoldMine and CRM solutions, primarily in the UK and European marketplace. We've been implementing GoldMine a long time, about 25 years now, well over 3,000 implementations all over the place in different types of organizations. And we supply lots of services around GoldMine, training, support, and also a number of specially selected GoldMine add-ons, of which IntelliClick is probably our most popular. Many people now are getting serious about email marketing and wanting to integrate it with their CRM systems, and also with the in Europe and UK, the current the recent introduction of GDPR regulations. There's been some compliance additions to IntelliClick, which makes it even more powerful and relevant to the organization. So just the format of the presentation, I'm going to be shortly handing over to Steve. We're going to have a question and answer session towards the end. Now, if you've got questions, your microphone is on mute, by the way, so don't worry about any background noises your end. But please type any questions that you've got about IntelliClick, or in fact GoldMine, into your question panel, a question box on the meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. Our session is being recorded as well, so afterwards our system will email you a link to recording that you can play back at your leisure, and we'll most likely pop it up on our YouTube channel as well for good measure. So I'd now like to hand over to my colleague Steve, who will be managing a bulk of this presentation, take you through the IntelliClick system, and a live demo of the solution. Hello, Steve. Just make you the presenter.
Yes, Tim, good afternoon, and thank you very much for having us today. I'm glad that we can give you a little insight into what we'd like to consider a little bit of the future of digital marketing. IntelliClick has always been something we've been very proud of, trying to be a little bit on the forefront of capabilities that deal with both email and website marketing and tracking, but our emphasis has always been how to take advantage of the CRM environment as part of that. So it's not just in isolation, but very much in tandem with everything you do in your CRM system. And so what I'll be speaking about and showing you today will be all the various components that tightly tie both email marketing and CRM together. And we have done so with GoldMine as the platform, typically in the background for this. As Tim mentioned, I'll start off with some brief overview of the product, some of the key differentiators, how we differ from others in the marketplace, and so why should you even consider us, and what benefit that brings to you. And then we'll look at a brief demo of some of the key features and highlights of the product as we go along. Just as a very quick background, it's been a little over 10 years now that the product has been in the marketplace. It was really the first email integration that was prepared for GoldMine, and we'd like to believe it still continues to be one of the better ones, and we'll talk about some differences there to other integrations. The biggest reason for IntelliClick coming to be was that we had a lot of users, a lot of GoldMine partners saying that their customers were looking for something that gave them a better synergy between the marketing department, the sales department, and email marketing being a very very cost-effective email tool, or a marketing tool, I should say. They wanted to find a better way to take advantage of the results coming from email marketing to leverage the CRM system and better do the sales follow-up and identification of opportunity through that flow of information. Our product is sold worldwide, so we have it in virtually most English-speaking countries in different parts of the world and different continents. We do focus a lot on really driving sales opportunities. I mean, that's the biggest thing we've tried to focus in everything we set up in functionality is not just giving you a lot of data, but really trying to make it meaningful data, actionable, and very timely. So the key is to know as quickly as possible when there is interest, so you can leverage that interest, take advantage of it, and potentially act on it before your competition. We kind of always speak about going beyond the click, because we don't only just tell you what people do initially when they get your emails, but what they do afterwards when they reach your website. So we have incorporated both known visitor, and we do have a module for unknown visitors. So if you're trying to start capturing the behavior of people coming to your site before they even are in your database, we can start tracking that behavior. And once they identify themselves through one of various web forms that you could use on your site, we can now give you all their past behavior and going forward all their future behavior as they come to your website and look at the different pages you present to them. So in terms of the overall features of our product, the most important reason that I would say many people look at our product is that we do have real-time integration to GoldMine. So as you send out your emails, results are tracked, they're immediately put into your system, and it's all done automatically. So from the time somebody clicks or opens a message till the time you see that result is a matter of seconds before it shows up. And it may even take other types of action. It can alert team members, whether that's sales, marketing, or others, of that interest. And that can be done through, typically most people are using email alerts. It can also schedule actions and pop up those actions using GoldMine's capabilities to alert through various scheduling. We do try to boil down all the information flowing in so that you can isolate your best leads. So we do try to compile that information and give you dashboards and reports to really give you an immediate look at your best opportunities. We've made it possible for you to start various types of steps once the results hit the system. So for those of you acquainted with GoldMine automated processes, you can kick off a process and immediately start to do things like drip marketing using those processes. And we've made our product handle various types of integrity in your data, the data integrity of your system. Things like making sure that if you have hard bounce or unsubscribes, most importantly, those are excluded. So we help make it easy to flag those. The system will do various automated steps to flag and make sure email addresses that are no longer either valid or people who have unsubscribed will not get used as you send your future campaigns. We also can help you identify malformed emails. We do have a service also to do email address verification if you want to look at any time how good your database of emails are. Are they valid or invalid? And we give you an easy way to flag all the ones that are no longer valid to ensure you're not potentially putting yourself out there and risking being blacklisted. And of course, most recently this year, we introduced some capabilities which actually do touch on certain areas of GDPR readiness. I'll be speaking to some of those features as well today. Those features aren't only for GDPR readiness, it also helps you do a good job of targeting and retargeting different areas of your system as you try to seek out opportunities through email marketing. So to boil down the key things that make us different and unique, because a lot of times they say, well, that sounds all great, but so how does that compare to other options that I have out there? Many of you have heard of some of the more known products like Constant Contact, excuse me, Mailchimp, and then there are some platforms that fall into what they call marketing automation, things like HubSpot, Marketo, Acton. So those platforms, and we like to believe we're sort of a hybrid. We fall somewhere right between sort of the basic email marketing platforms and the more robust marketing automation platforms, because we bridge capabilities of both of them. But the product, the pricing, and the use of it is a much more closely aligned to the email marketing platforms out there. So as I mentioned earlier, real-time data, of course, integration is the biggest and most important benefit we bring, because the data, first of all, never leaves your system. We actually use the database at the moment you're doing your send as your list of recipients. You simply identify a group in GoldMine as your mailing list, and we execute the sending against that group. It can be both primary and additional contacts, so it's up to you whether you send to absolutely everyone or limit it to just the primary emails. We do track and distinguish based on primary and additional, so everything is tracked to the person's email, and so it does not distinguish, it distinguishes, I should say, to the individual level. We do allow you to have dynamic alerts. So we find that with a lot of other systems, there's a tracking being done that doesn't necessarily bring about any type of notification. So we've made it easy for you is to have both static or dynamic alerts, things like based on who's assigned to your account as a salesperson. I want to make sure they're instantly notified if a specific page on a specific campaign is visited by our recipient. And so we make that easy to do on any campaign you send. You elect which one it does, and it will instantly notify the assigned rep if you use reps that are assigned to your accounts. We do make sure that we have a whole series of reporting, and those are all run and available to you immediately inside of GoldMine. But some of the more important ones will help aggregate and tell you who are your best leads, who are your best opportunities based on scoring and the behavior that they've shown over the life of the different campaigns you're sending. We do keep your data secure. So very importantly, that data does not, the list of your names is never uploaded outside your environment. The data, so that of course is a feature that does kind of tie in a little bit to GDPR, in that we're really making sure that it is your environment that is securing and making sure that the privacy and the data that you hold remains in your environment. When the tracking occurs on our server, we do have a secure area of that data to be tracked before it's handed off to you. There's a very short time between the data coming to us and the data flowing securely to your system. So a secure connection between your server that retrieves these results is put in place, and then that data is received within seconds, and then can be, if you wish, removed immediately. We typically hold data for a short time so that if there was any information that for some reason did not get to your system, we still have it and can make sure it catches up and gives you what you need. So we do usually keep a small time frame buffer, but that can be set specific to your requirements as you wish. Another very distinguishing feature is our one-click call to action. So what we do give you is the ability, without people having to fill in forms and go through any cumbersome process, they're able to click and receive certain literature that could be sent and coming from your assigned salesperson, introducing themselves, attaching the literature, and immediately advising that salesperson that that literature has been delivered and looked at by the recipient. Of course, you know, there are other things people can request, like a quote or somebody to call them back, and that click can instantly schedule things directly in the GoldMine system and pop up to the assigned person that there's an action to be taken. So we try to make it very interactive. We consider IntelliClick to have a lot of interactivity capability between your audience and your internal staff, particularly sales, along the way. The website visitor tracking, something we've had in place from day one, but we realize that especially in today's GDPR environment, it's important that that type of tracking is something that is permitted by the recipient. So we've now made it so that you can set and turn on a warning, or not a warning, but an advisement that cookies are used on the site for tracking, and people can then either give you that permission or decline it. If they provide the permission, we actually log and keep a date timestamp log of who gave you that permission and when it was received. They can, of course, it will only stay that way for a 30-day period of time. That's our standard window, and it will ask them again if they don't visit your site within a 30-day period. So it does not bother them if they continue to visit during that 30 days. It keeps extending, but if they stop visiting your site for over 30 days, it will prompt and require them to once again acknowledge it's okay. We do have various integrity management that's automatically there. If email addresses in your system are either invalid or malformed, those will not even be attempted to be used as part of the send process. So we're not going to try to push out mail that is just basically undeliverable type mail if it doesn't qualify as an email address that should be used. In terms of HTML, we have a few different options you can use, whether we have both, and that should be updated because we do now offer either an online editor option or an installed editor. A product called MailStyler is the one that we find to be one of the most powerful and simplest HTML editors to use. It is an offline editor. It functions very similarly to working in Microsoft Word. Very easy to drag, drop, resize images, set up wrapping of text around images. A lot of the things that you're used to doing in a Word environment can be done in this HTML editor, and I'll give you a quick peek at that editor during my demo. And then, of course, the workflow automation and various simplified updates to the system, whether it's database updates. We now provide what we call our quick update mechanism that allows you to go out and gather any changes to information if people wish to update to make sure your information is up to date in your database. It will allow them to, through a form, see their information, update it, and instantly update that back in your environment so that you can be sure your email addresses, mailing address, people's names, all of that is fully up to date and correct. That same form can be also used to give explicit permission for holding that data and tracking it. So again, another GDPR level type component where you can, during that process, make sure that you're securing an expressed consent for holding data. We do make sure that any clients who come on our system do have instructor-led training that is recorded and given to you, and depending on which level of product you take, there could be as many as up to 3 90-minute sessions of training with instructor-led assistance specific to your needs and requirements. So it's not just the functionality of our product, but we try to tie it into the most important things you're trying to accomplish with email marketing as we do that training. So I'm going to move over now and just show you a couple of these different components in a live session. Let me just get over here to my GoldMine system. So this GoldMine system is using the most recent release of GoldMine, and we are fully ready for virtually all levels of GoldMine. So whichever version you happen to be using, it will be compatible. The manner in which we connect and use GoldMine is tied to the system that you're using at that time. So everything that we call is based on the version you're in, and therefore will always work with that version that you happen to be on. You'll notice that we've set up this little demo to have a field structure that represents a lot of the capabilities. It's not necessarily what you need to set up, but is a good way to take full advantage of our capabilities. In the top part of the screen, you're just noticing a couple of different things that have things like who the account is assigned to. If I alter my assignment of the account to a different salesperson, watch down below here, that will alter who the sales rep and their corresponding information. So that's using GoldMine functionality to be sure that we're keeping what would give us the dynamic alert capabilities to send an email or schedule an action to the salesperson based on who's assigned. And so These fields are not a requirement, but we recommend them if you want full flexibility to dynamically engage the right salesperson. In terms of fields, you have the ability with our product to update from a click certain different fields, and that also includes web forms can update those fields, of course, as well. Those of you who already use GoldMine Web Import in any way know that web imports do it, but we also make it possible through a simple click. So if you wanted to, for instance, send an email that had somewhere where people can grant permission to have, the GDPR consent type permission, this could be populated through one single click that just simply thanks them for their response and updates instantly the field from that click to the value you want to set. So you determine the value, you determine the fields, and that can all be done so that you can not only filter, but make sure that you have audit trails. Because as these different actions are being taken, our Click Track tab is keeping a log here of the interactive behavior. So this will keep track of the name of the campaign, the nature of the response, whether it was an opening of a message, a click to a particular page, a navigation of different pages. So if they've navigated around the website, you can see that behavior with a date timestamp. I apologize, I realize this date formatting is in North American format because that's where we're based, but we do make sure the formatting and logging of dates is in the UK format when you're using your system locally. That is all tracked here in the Click Track tab. And there are some additional modules we have available now in IntelliClick. We do have the ability to do subscription management. And with subscription management, you're able to present a form that will dynamically set a form with different options of lists. And you can even have different sets of those lists. So you could have a set for sales purposes, a different set for marketing purposes. Each one can be presented individually and can allow for a yes/no selection or an opt-in, opt-out selection. That will update and log date and time. Now, they can start by opting in and later opt out. We will always make sure that we keep the log of their behavior, but most importantly, to make it easy for you to then use what they have chosen, we update the corresponding merge code, email merge code of that individual. So as they opt in or opt out, you decide what codes you're going to use, and these get updated and either get added or removed as people choose to opt in or opt out for those different types of lists. And then it's very easy when you execute a mailing to select which people, which merge codes are to be used that are going to be sent for a mailing to any given group within your system. And when I show the IntelliSend module, you'll see how simple it is to pick and choose and isolate down the target audience you're sending to. We do also offer a survey capability. So our survey capabilities do allow you to offer up different types of surveys. We have what we call our one-click survey. So this is a survey where you can very quickly bring up, and let me just see if I can pull up a quick example of that. I'm just going to merge this one as a very, this shows actually our quick update. So I'm going to actually show two quick things that will exemplify some of the things I talked about in our slides. Just go to the outbox here. So here's an example of something that our tool will build for you. We can build out a full, I guess you would call this a quick update page that will merge and capture the information you currently hold in the system. Or we can provide just a single click button that basically will take them to a form without necessarily showing it first to them in an email. That would become your decision which way you prefer. If an individual were to receive this and decide they do want it to do an update, it will take them to a form, pass in your logo. So we manage the forms, but it will pass in a logo, though we'll keep it branded to you. It will have all the information currently on file, and they can update and alter that information here. If they have not yet provided any type of a consent, we've made sure that this particular field is required, so they must choose a yes or a no to determine if there is consent to keep the information. So this, again, is to help facilitate some of the GDPR readiness in the system. This is an example of a quick update type of scenario. I also mentioned that we have the ability to do some of these surveys. And so here would be a quick little example. Let me just go ahead and merge this one and show a quick example of satisfaction survey. So here's an example where, again, you can present and build a very quick and simple, through our tool, a simple little survey, right, embedded inside your email. Of course, the logos would always be your own logos being shown, but with this, they can very quickly, just one click to rate something, and once they choose and do the rating, it would then present them with a final location to add a comment if they chose to. That's an option. And now through these 2 clicks, you're capturing some instantaneous information about a particular service, product, or anything you wish to be quickly surveying through your system. What's nice about this is this can be one-off email surveys or mass. You can send this to a whole group of people for survey purposes, or you can do them on a one-off basis, or they can be triggered based on other things in your system, like you making a sale and you want to survey within a day or two their satisfaction with how you fulfilled those sales. So lots of nice ways to use the survey module as a way to do that. And when it's all said and done, we capture back the information here into the survey tab, and all that information would flow into this tab here, where you would have the scores, the information, and of course, everything that we're capturing and all this data can be very quickly reviewed through the various dashboards. So we do have subscription management dashboards, the survey dashboards, the campaign summary dashboard, probably the most commonly used one, is going to give you a good snapshot across all your campaigns underway. I'm going to just go back a little bit deeper in terms of date here, because this is a demo system, so I want to be sure we're looking at more data. But here's an example where I can pull up the campaign that we use most often when we demonstrate. And if I go to the campaign, I can very quickly see a lot of different behavior that our system can track, from people signing up for various types of events, one-click event registrations, or it could be literature fulfillments. And when you click on it, it drills down, shows you the individuals, what kind of response rates you've had. You can then, of course, from here drill straight down to the record where those people live and have that information. Similarly, in our reporting, we give you some very detailed type of reporting. I'm going to go up to the reports, and probably the one I think gives us the best overview is what we call our success ratio and tracking detailed report. And most of our reports work very similarly, where we give you different runtime options on what you want it to select. In this particular report, I'm able to choose one or multiple campaigns. So I can say I'd like to do side-by-side review. In this case, I can also say whether I want to see the full representation or only within a period, more current period of time. And when you run the report, we immediately compile that data and present it to you, first in a summary format. So we make sure that you have a very nice quick look at the 3 campaigns and what kind of open rate, click rates, and all the various things that have been captured, whether they had action requests. But very importantly, you can then drill down and look at the specifics of these, so that as I look at, for instance, who hit very specific clicks to certain pages, the date and time, the person who did it, that's all being summarized for me in my report. In the web page navigation, we show you all the various types of page views, but we also give you the ability to do what we call on-click tracking. So if you have things on your website like videos, white papers, and things like that, you can track the click of people who have watched the video or who have downloaded a certain PDF file. And those, instead of being tracked as a website URL, they're being tracked by the name you assign to that click, so that you know what specific video they clicked on or what particular document was downloaded. So that is all part of our known visitor website tracking capability. And we do, again, some various ratios and calculations to show you what sort of response rates this is producing for you against the campaigns underway. So this is just one of about 10 to 12 analytical reports tied into website behavior, email marketing behavior. We get more specific on things like who's signing up for events. Should you use the one-click event? And you can quickly run reports to see who signed up by day and time for your different things. Of course, we give you the ability to quickly look at and see who has unsubscribed, who's been hard bounced, or reported as spam through the various mechanisms we use to keep your database up to date. So I know, Tim, I've thrown a lot of different things out here to give a brief look at sort of capabilities and the power behind our product. I think, is this a good time to maybe open it up to some questions?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Steve.
Or if there's things you'd like me to focus further, please mention it.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole objective of this fairly short presentation today is to just give you a flavor for IntelliClick, try and explain why it's different. And then, of course, if you'd like to take a deeper dive into the system, my company, Wizard Systems, would be more than happy in arranging a one-to-one demonstration with you where we can, every company's going to have subtly different email marketing requirements, and the way they use GoldMine will be different. So we'll do a personal presentation to you and take you through in a lot more detail the capabilities of IntelliClick, the template designer, some of those reports, talk about implementation as well, and going through pricing. There's a few different options on pricing, lots of add-on options going beyond traditional email. So that's what we can take you through there. So I think we've got a couple of questions coming through so far. As I say, if you've got any questions, please type those into the question box in the meeting control panel. First question from Brian. Hello, we use Mailchimp at the moment. What are the differences you would say between Mailchimp with GoldMine and IntelliClick?
Well, I think, you know, some of the, I'm not sure whether when they're mentioning Mailchimp, if they're talking about the one that has some interface to GoldMine. I know there is some type of a connection between them. But well, the first thing is that everything ours does is automated. So you don't need to go get your information. It happens automatically as campaigns are out there. So there's no need for you to manually go and say, please retrieve the data. We do store all our data. We don't use GoldMine history unless you elect to do so. You have the option of storing in history, but people's history is already pretty cluttered with a lot. So we keep things separated out into a click track tab where we give you all the nuts and bolts of detail. So again, that is again a difference between what are some of the other interfaces. That also includes Constant Contact interface, which again puts everything into the history part of GoldMine and requires you to filter through and look at all that alongside all the other information you're storing, as opposed to keeping it in a separate, clean, simple way to review. But the automation of that and the functionality of telling you your web visitors, your one-click call to actions, there's where we go a little bit beyond the traditional open, click, and unsubscribe, which is the base tracking you get with most email providers like Constant Contact and Mailchimp. We do tell you what they do once they get to your site, when they've come back by just simply revisiting your site. We're tracking that behavior automatically, and we're giving you the ability to have more of a interactive dialogue between your sales staff and others and the recipient through the one-click call to actions.
I suppose the other key difference is that with GoldMine and IntelliClick, you can send out single emails, a single email to a recipient and have that tracked.
One-off capability, of a single email. You do a follow-up email. You can have things like your signature line tracked to social media or to people who visited by clicking your logo in your signature line. They can instantly be tracking that they visited and what they've done. So that can be coming from just your generic day-to-day transactional emails. It does not require you to necessarily be a campaign per se. So yes, we have a lot of companies who do that. We do it ourselves. My associate here in the office, when people click on her LinkedIn profile from her signature line, it instantly tracks and tells her they've been checking her out on LinkedIn. So she has an idea that maybe they're looking a little bit further. If it's not somebody we're doing business with, they're looking a little more in detail about our company and so forth. And that alerts her, by the way, immediately. It tracks it, but it also alerts her that they went to her LinkedIn page.
So hopefully, Brian, that answered your question. And as I say, proof of the pudding is in the eating. If you want to take a deeper look into the system, just give us a shout and we can organize a more detailed look for you and see how you're using Mailchimp and the differences more exactly. Next question from Sean. How easy is it to get unsubscribes information out of Constant Contact into IntelliClick?
Okay, so there what we would do is we have our module, which is our email data integrity module. And Constant Contact, as well as pretty much anybody, does keep track, and it allows you to generate a file, a CSV file of all the email addresses that they have tracked that have unsubscribed. And so with our data integrity module, you would just simply load the module, and then you would take the file that you generate from Constant Contact and you would click on the load unsubscribe and literally point to that file. So you just simply point to the file that you wish to load, and it will instantly read in those emails, match them against the emails in your GoldMine system, and put the flag that we use, which is the unsubscribe flag, on the email address. I was mentioning that we do handle everything at an email level. So if someone has unsubscribed, and let me just see if I can go to an account that has, let's say, an unsubscribe. I'm not sure here, but let's see if we have one that does. Here we go. So if an email is unsubscribed, we flag it in the note of that email as unsubscribed, and that will not be loaded on future campaigns. So when you load a group, we instantly exclude those individuals automatically. That flag got there either because you received the flag as you've done campaigns through our system, or you put it there with that initial update through our email integrity management mechanism here. If you have hard bounces, whether you use certain verifications with our service or others, you can then load and mark all the email addresses that are non-valid, hard bounced, and those will be excluded whether you decide to remove them from your system or not. We do give you the ability with hard bounces to remove them from your system, but also add the email to history. So you have an audit trail of all these removals, and you know what was there in the past and know how it got removed from the system. Whether you remove them or not, we exclude them for sending, so we're not exposing you to blacklist.
There you are, Sean. It's easy, and of course, with the systems, we do offer a full implementation and training service. So if you don't want to do that yourself, we can do the whole thing for you once we understand your requirements. But we do offer a full training and setup service for IntelliClick. Now we've got 4 questions from Jeff, and I should have said that we do charge Jeff extra. You know, if you go over the first question, we do charge extra, £5 per question. Anyway, looks like Jeff is a constant contact user. So first question from Jeff. We currently use Constant Contact and design our own email shots combining text and graphics. Does IntelliClick offer this facility? Question mark.
So we're talking about building out templates?
Email templates, yes. Yeah.
So as I mentioned, you're actually free to use any template editor you choose. We have some people who use things like Dreamweaver, which is, you know, their own editor for building things. Others use Microsoft Expression Web. There are other tools that we strongly recommend. The one we feel has been the one our clients have had the most success with is something called MailStyler. This is a installed based editor. As you can see, it is a very simple one to use different components. It builds out the structure of the email. It allows you to very easily resize graphics and images, wrap text. Some of these capabilities you're not going to commonly find in most editors. But the beauty of this is it's very simple to just simply load in images right off your computer, size them, drop them in. If they're images you use often, you're able to have various libraries. So you can have image libraries and even different categories of libraries, so that anything you want to reuse in the future is just as easy as picking the particular item and dropping it into the location where you might want to place it in the template, and you have the ability to then use it right from here. Just drop it in, size it, drag and drop it, and place it. So a lot of what you're seeing here is similar to kind of a Word environment, very simple, easy to use, but most importantly, this product does a very good job at making sure that it is optimized for all the email clients out there, whether people are receiving it in Outlook, Gmail, or on devices. It makes sure it's well optimized and, of course, gives you various previewing capabilities. If you want to make sure you're seeing how it's going to look exactly on a desktop or mobile device, it shows you the optimization and exactly what you can expect that to look like when people receive it. But it does do an extremely good job in the background of optimization, and that's why we find it to be one of the more powerful tools and one that we recommend highly.
Okay, Jeff. So yeah, take it as a given. There's loads of creating some really nice professional-looking email templates in the system, which you can use in GoldMine as well. Okay, question 2 of 4. If on a scale of 1 to 10, Constant Contact is mid-range, i.e. scores 5, what would IntelliClick score? We're a little bit prejudiced.
When you say score on what is the parameters we're scoring on?
Well, I suppose this is it. I mean, if you were thinking, yes, looking at an email marketing solution that is integrated with GoldMine, quite plainly, we're going to score extremely highly, a 10, compared to Constant Contact. But I would say, looking at feature to feature, we have just alluded to some things that IntelliClick can do that the likes of Constant Contact and Mailchimp can't do, like the website tracking, survey capability, sending out just one email and having that tracked in real time in your CRM. And having it so tightly integrated with GoldMine just helps you work more proactively. All of your GoldMine users can see what's going on as well as regards your marketing campaigns. The validation capability, the GDPR compliance capability. So as regards a number, I don't know, maybe if you ask 10 people, you might get 10 different answers. I would say certainly higher than Constant Contact, 6, 7, 8 maybe. But if you want to have a look, let us know and we'll give you a demonstration.
Yeah, if I speak from experience, and we had, I'd say a fairly high percentage of people often have been using other products like Constant, Mailchimp before they come to us. And many of the reasons for them making that change have been because, of course, the functionality, the higher levels of functionality that they get, that gives them a much more precise measurement on a lot of different areas. But believe it or not, if you're using very large lists, we're actually a lot less expensive, just straight dollars and cents.
Well,
do not tie what the price you pay to how many people you're tracking. Whether your database in GoldMine is 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 doesn't affect your price at all. You can be tracking the 100,000 names in your database for the different segments at all times simultaneously, and you're still paying the same price. It doesn't change that. So we found that if your list set that you track is over 10,000 or higher, we are actually considerably cheaper, less expensive. So not only are we giving you all this functionality, we're giving it at a lower cost to just simply do email marketing. So just going to throw that out there. We don't often consider ourselves a low price product because we are not if you're in a very small list set, but we do provide a lot of functionality around that. But on large list sets, meaning I would say 10,000 emails and above being tracked ongoing, will probably be a more cost-effective alternative.
And that was Jeff's third question is, how is IntelliClick costed? With Constant Contact, after the initial buy-in, we pay a fixed monthly fee.
Right, and with us, there is a flat annual fee. The first year, because of some of the different technical installation, provisioning, and training, we mentioned that there's up to 3 90-minute sessions typically offered, depending on the need of the client. All that work is factored into a sort of provisioning fee year one, but otherwise it's an annual fee ongoing per year. So it's just something you renew once a year, and it is a flat fee.
And that would be other big difference compared to, say, Constant Contact or Mailchimp offerings, is that we do offer that training. So we can actually offer you training. Normally it is delivered online, but it's a one-to-one session with one of our trainers at Wizard Systems. And going through all of your questions, going through building a campaign, template design, reporting, touching on automated process, well, creating your lists in GoldMine. There's so many different options there for you to do that. So that's the other big difference as well. Last question from Jeff. What's the cost of the instructor-led training sessions?
Well, Tim, if you want to go ahead and provide, because I guess we'd want to make sure everything is being priced in pounds. And if you want to respond on that.
I'll write to Jeff separately on that. Because we have
sessions are partially included when on the purchase, but you can do additional sessions as well. So I don't know if he's talking about if they needed more than what's already bundled or not, but again, that would be better responded on your side.
Because there's exactly. So thanks, Steve. Yeah, there's the initial setup training on the system. I know Steve's company, they do on a regular basis do some free webinars.
We do.
So
Coach's Corner.
Coach's Corner. Just touching.
Coach's Corner.
Yeah. Touching on elements of IntelliClick you may not know. It did something. So that's all free. But yeah, I'll write to you separately, Jeff, on the costings there.
Yeah, and I would like to just embellish on that one point is that the Coaches Corners we do, which are averaged about once a month, bring on both, we have guest presenters who have expertise. We have one actually happening tomorrow is our next one, and that is on content. We have an expert on email content. They're actually have done a lot of extensive work in the past with Constant Contact itself, but they are really an expert in that area. They'll be speaking to that. We do feature different, when we have new features available in our system, we do an overview, an explanation how to use it, and what benefit it brings. So we always make sure you're learning just through these various sessions.
Okay, so I think there's no more questions coming through. It just remains for me to thank everyone for your time this afternoon, and keep an eye out for that email from our system with a link to recording. Suffice to say, if you want to take a closer look at IntelliClick or have any other GoldMine requirements, training, support, upgrades, please get in touch with us. My name again is Tim Wilmot. Email is tim@wizard-systems.com. There's our website and our phone number. Thanks very much indeed for your time, and we'll hopefully catch up with you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks everybody.